one pull out. You touch them all. Alright, you can see not much. I'll change it again when you do it. I'm gonna do a quick short axe. So you're gonna go in, you know, your short axe is the aortic level. Remember that one?
Yeah.
If I put this has to be on axis, so your aortic is gonna be in the middle, not all the way over there. In the middle. This line is straight in the middle. Hit M mode, it'll look exactly the same.
That's from here.
As if you when you were doing PSI.
Yep.
Does the ball
No.
matter?
No.
It could be anywhere
Yep.
as long as the line is.
Yep. And same thing. RCC, NCC closure.
I feel like that's clear though.
Because
Yeah,
we were in
her
here.
aortic
Because
is
we were
real
left.
clear.
So
But it's still, it'll look, your M mode will be pretty much the same. Then your mitral, you can either do the aortic level. You want to put your line, this line goes right at the tips.
How is that?
You see how when it's
Air
open?
claps?
Yeah, are you recording?
Yes.
Okay, recording. Right at the tips, okay? Not halfway into the LA, not past the mitral valve, because then it's not even touching the mitral valve.
When it's open or closed, it doesn't matter, right?
At both points, this should be on the tips.
Right. But like when you freeze it, it doesn't matter if it's closed or open.
Oh, no, no,
Because
no.
it's gonna be
Yeah.
closed and opening when
Yeah.
you're reading M mode.
Exactly. But you see how, look, even during, when it's open, it's at the tips, and when it's closed, it's at the tips.
crazy, yes. Really nice.
Yeah, she has a little
See, from point A to point B, I didn't need to let it go anymore because we don't need that much.
What are you
Is this
getting?
like all like third party?
Yes.
What are you getting right there?
Mitral?
So, is the mitral the one that's supposed to have like a W, or that's the A
M?
and then W? See, it doesn't look like it looked on like the picture. That's why I don't see
Which
it.
picture?
The
You see
picture
this,
is alone.
you see her lower, or PML?
Yeah,
AML, PML?
yeah.
It's gonna match whatever motion her mitral is giving.
So that depends on the
Yeah.
patient's anatomy.
Exactly. But it was in that picture. Watch. Emma.
Just so you can kind of see what we're kind of looking for.
Mitral, and then here's that little motion that we were getting from the post.
So where
the
would you
posterior.
measure the bottom part?
You're not measuring the
PML?
bottom part.
You're not doing PML?
You label the PML, you don't measure the PML.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna hit text. Again, you're gonna measure. You're gonna do all your labels that you see this line touching. You're gonna start at the
Find a
chest.
better PSLA. Again,
Wall, right into anterior right part wall. IBS. This whole chamber that the LV is within. I'm sorry, that your mitral valve is within. It's your LV. This M configuration is your anterior mitral leaflet. The lower one will be your posterior mitral leaflet. LVPW.
So essentially, you're literally labeling it in the exact same order that you would label it in PSI. So
When
you
you were
just
doing
remember the anatomy straight down.
Exactly. It's nothing, you're not looking at anything new. You're not looking at any new valves, new chambers, nothing. It's the same images you've been doing. You're just adding this bottom part to it.
Yeah.
And you need to do the calculation part too. You
Yes.
need to do precise.
Yes. So we're gonna go into calc. You're gonna be doing, where is this? Mitral valve E to F. Oh, you have to label E, F,
this shows up.
I'm gonna do your labeling. Okay, aside from this, you're gonna measure each little corner. So if you can see on your paper, keep going. Oh, here we go. This sheet, this page. They have labels, each little corner of every motion has a
Oh, we
letter.
saw that.
So
Oh, I
D
don't
to-
have it.
So yeah, she has a label because you guys they went through it in class. But D to E, E to F, A, and C.
So we have to do that here.
So you're gonna be labeling that because when you measure, that's what the measurements are called.
Right. So this
So-
is D.
So D, E, so D for diastole, because diastole is starting. E for early, because there's 3 phases of diastole. This is the early phase. This is closure, to start right. D, E, F. Not sure what F stands for. A is atrial kick. And C, closure.
Is that filling?
Huh?
Is that for filling? No,
It should be diastasis. I don't know what it is.
right? Okay.
Because right,
I guess just because all
early
letters.
filling, then it starts to equalize, and then it's the atrial kick. So those are your other labels, so that when you do your measurements, you see it says E to F, mitral excursion.
Oh, so you're gonna measure from E to
Uh-huh.
from the top to the bottom,
Mhm.
or from like right?
You're going to
above?
be doing 3 measurements on this one. Mitral excursion, so the very first opening. So from D to the E, to the peak right there. Enter. It creates this line, so don't panic. It's just reading from there to there.
Mhm.
E
What
to-
about the EPSS? You don't put that, that's just the
You don't
excursion,
label
right?
it, no.
Yeah.
But it's a measurement. You label EPSS?
We don't label it, we just measure it.
So we did excursion. Now we're going to do EF, which as you can see, E to F. Simple point to point. This corner. Enter. And then EPSS. E point, so E point, septal separation. This is your septum, this is your IVS. So you want to measure how far it's separated from the E point to the septum. You can use, for the EPSS, you could use another one because there's so much going on right here right now.
So that's why you did them
What
separate.
is another?
Yeah,
So
but
you're
you will
labeling-
be labeling,
Space.
I believe protocol, you're just gonna print one out with your labels
Only iPhones.
and use the same picture with your measurements.
Only iPhones.
Oh.
That's an
Okay.
iPhone situation.
And then text this corner. PF. Or PSSA if you're using the short axis.
Right.
And it should look exactly the same. If we do mitral short axis view, again, if you already know.
Look like that.
Mitral, you see how it's straight in the middle? Your line is straight in the middle. If I hit M mode, your mitral looks exactly the same. We want to make sure you're actually in mitral and not imported though.
So it's just dependent. Like she has a good PSLA, so you can just do them all on PSLA. But
Yeah.
If the person doesn't,
Exactly. Some people have better luck finding your short, some people have better luck finding their PSLI. But at the end of the day, it's going to come to the same.
right.
EP, you're going to do the same labels, same DD, E to AF, C, whatever, and then you're going to measure it.
Yeah.
Then last one.
I can't find my stuff from last one. It's in a folder. I put everything in
Last one, again, PSLA. You're going to do the LV. I'm going to get, you see, this is mitral here. This is where we did our mitral measurements. You're going to go past that mitral valve. You see what this stuff in here? Chordate and tap. You can angle foot back and forth like IT-OT motion to get away from it so you don't get so much of it when you do your MO. And make sure your gains here are nice. Your gains in your 2s are good. Your gains in your M are going to be good. Then you're gonna text. Do your semen anatomy. Enter your right heart. RV. IVS. This whole thing in here is LV, right? All this is LV. This last muscle here is LV, PW, and pair.
Shouldn't you be paying attention to the intro?
Okay, right? These little lines in here, we've got a little chordate and pap coming in. So remember it was in her 2D?
Yeah.
So it's also going to be in the MO.
This is chordate?
Yes, chordate and chordate. There's a white line down there too. So when you measure, you want to make sure that if you see chordate in your 2D image, expect it to come up in your MO. Make sure that when you're measuring, you don't measure to those chordates or to that structure because you're measuring 2 walls.
Do you have a while more?
We're just gonna measure this one.
So in this picture, you're
And you're gonna do right ventricular diameter during diastole, little d. IVS starting diastole. LVID, left ventricular internal dimensions, diastole. LVPW, diastole. So make sure you're using the correct measurements in the correct time. And then IVS, LV, LVPW, systole.
Okay,
A
so
little
this
less.
has the most measurements.
Yes. But the good thing about this one, you kind of just hit it once and it just jumps into the next one. We're always going to start with RV, diameter, not the right, what is the other one? Right anterior wall.
Right, so start the second one. Just
Second
gotta
one?
remember that.
Mm-hmm. So remember we labeled the anterior wall, we're going to measure the width of the RV during diastole. So what's happening in the heart during diastole?
Are you asking me?
Yes,
Oh, I'm
everybody.
sorry.
It's filling.
filling.
Yes, so diastole, your LV chamber is filling and it's getting bigger. During systole, your heart's squeezing and it's getting smaller. So again, just because the EKGs are a little tiny and we can't really see it, you're gonna look at the LV. LV here, see how wide it is? Versus LV here, I got smaller. LV got wide again, small. Wide again, small. Just like this is in motion. Every beat that this was going through, this caught it. Just like in aortic and mitral, you caught it opening and closing, opening and closing.
Okay.
So you're gonna go during diastole, you see this whole line? You would line it up to your EKG at the QRS complex. If you don't see it, just go to the widest point here of that LV and start at the anterior right heart wall at the bottom, and you're just gonna measure the size of the RV to the top of the IVS. You're gonna hit enter, and it jumps to the next one. Remember how before you had to keep going, keep
so
going?
literally it just does it
Yep.
in order.
So you don't have, as long as you're taking this to the correct spot, you should be golden.
Which
So-
one is that for, that it jumps to the next one?
LV, or your PAP level.
Okay.
So top of the IVS to the bottom of the IVS is asking, how wide is this IVS during diastole? You're saying from this point to that point. Enter. Now it's asking LV. So from the top, the bottom of the IVS to the next wall.
What's this?
Is that Courtney?
That's quarter. Oh.
That's the chord it is. Remember I said, you're
Yeah.
not going to stop here because that's chord A. You're not going to stop there, that's also chord A. Cut through all the way down till you see that wall. Enter. And then the last one is the peri. You're not going to measure the peri because the peri isn't the muscle, it's the socket that holds the heart. You're just going to measure it right above it.
Are you guys here?
You're gonna
Enter.
measure to me?
Right above the peri.
Oh, right above it.
white
Okay.
line.
Okay.
And then it jumps to the next one, IVS
Are you ever here
systole.
Saturdays?
So you're going to start IVS. How wide is this IVS? Enter. Enter. To the squeezing part, right? We're all at the squeezing point now. Enter. Top of the LVPW to the bottom of the LVPW. Not counting the peri. Enter. And then you're gonna label. PSLA. LV. LVM mode or PAPM mode? LVM mode. There you go. And then, again, if you wanted to do your shorts, that's right.
Just one more.
No, that's it. She's just showing us that pop up.
Yep. So if you wanted to do the short axis, you're gonna find your best PAP level. Not chord. Well, that's very good. You're gonna find that PAP level. Get it nice and centered. Okay. And take this line, put it in the middle,
You did that.
where you won't touch your PAPs coming in. And then it should look exactly
Yeah. You didn't even clear the text in at all. Matched up, pretty much.
it's still at the same
Oh,
depth.
wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's pretty cool.
So either long or short. If you do a short, the only thing that you're changing, compared besides like the measure, is just PSSA. Measurements should be the same. Labels should be exactly the same.